Episode 1. Love's Journey. Mr. and Mrs. Gorski and their daughter Kira are taking a cab ride from their overnight hotel stay to the Manhattan docks where their cruise ship will leave for London. The Gorskis are hoping that this cruise will help Kira recover from a disheartening breakup of a long-time engagement to her fiancé, Kevin Harper.
You'll love this cruise, Kira. It'll be an adventure for all of us. Who knows? You may meet someone and Kevin will soon be a distant memory.
Here we are, folks. It's the Emerald of the Sea. You picked the very best.
Kira stands next to the cab and stares up at the cruise ship in awe of its majesty. Captain Ryder most often captains the Emerald of the Sea, a luxury cruise liner run by U.S. Cruises, Inc. The Emerald is the smallest but most luxurious of the cruise line ships. Following its usual route, the Emerald sails from New York Harbor to London. Since COVID, the ships are only partially occupied. Captain Tom Ryder, now age 45, learned his seamanship skills while in the Navy. Tom Ryder has worked for U.S. Cruises, Inc. for 10 years. After several years with U.S. Cruises, Inc., it was on a cruise where Captain Ryder met Kira at the captain's dinner table. Most socializing among the passengers occurs in the main ballroom at dinner time. In the ship's dining room, people stand at the captain's table as the Gorskis approach.
Welcome to my table. And you're Mr. and Mrs. Gorski?
Yes, it's nice to have our turn at the captain's table.
And this is your daughter?
Yes, Kira.
Hello, Kira. Please, have a seat. Where are you all from?
California.
At the end of dinner, all rise and leave the table. The Gorskis and Kira linger, and they and Captain Ryder have a brief farewell.
Thank you, Captain Ryder. It was a wonderful dinner and wonderful conversation.
It's nice to have met you and your daughter. It's a shame we didn't have that dance, Kira.
I would have liked that.
Maybe tomorrow night?
It's a date.
The next evening, Captain Ryder has been dancing with various passengers. Not wanting to miss the chance of seeing Kira again, he approaches the table where the Gorskis are seated.
Good evening. How is everything?
Fine, thank you. We've had a wonderful time on this trip.
I promised Kira a dance. Kira, would you care to?
I was hoping you wouldn't forget.
How could I?
Did you like Casablanca?
I thought Bogey was better than a Maltese Falcon.
That's an example of the male-female dichotomy.
How so?
The lover versus the tough guy.
Sometimes they're both. At this moment, I'm regretting more than ever the company policy against fraternizing with passengers.
Fraternizing? That's a funny word.
Well, it is what it is. We only have a few days left. I often go out on the Lido deck in the evenings. Maybe I'll see you there.
You will.
It was a clear moonlit night on the ship's Lido deck when Kira and Captain Ryder next met. Captain Ryder has been waiting there anxiously, hoping Kira would join him.
Good evening, Captain Ryder.
I was hoping to see you here.
It's a beautiful night. I love the poem line, "And moonbeams kiss the sea."
Keats.
No, Shelley.
Are you sure? I'll look it up.
I studied literature. Want to make a bet?
What's the wager?
You take me to dinner after we get home.
California's a long way to go for a meal.
I may stay in Manhattan for a few days to see some shows while my parents return.
I'm getting a feeling I already lost this one.
You haven't a chance.
I'm not complaining. Let me have your number before you leave the ship.
I'll start researching restaurants. See you later?
Kira walks off as Ryder's eyes follow her. It was perfect California weather for Kira's wedding. Now standing before the minister with Ed Davidson as his best man, this is the happy moment Tom Ryder has been hoping for since he first met Kira. Since Kira was an only child, it was the Gorskys' chance to give her the lavish wedding they had always hoped for her.
Do you, Thomas Ryder, take this woman, Kira Gorsky, to be your lawfully wedded wife?
I do.
And do you, Kira Gorsky, take this man, Thomas Ryder, to be your lawfully wedded husband?
Of course I do.
By the power vested in me by the state of California, I now pronounce you man and wife.
After a romantic honeymoon, Tom and Kira return to Manhattan to Tom's apartment where they will begin their married life.
I just love it here.
Thanks for being willing to make the move.
It wasn't hard to leave my family and friends in California because we have this beautiful Gramercy Park apartment.
Kira walks around the apartment smiling. She throws open French doors and steps out onto a small balcony and peers at the park and people walking below. She walks back into the room and plops down onto the sofa while looking up at the ceiling, smiling. Tom's cruising schedule affords him blocks of time off to spend on vacation trips with Kira.
I'm so glad we're having this time to get away.
You'll love the Hamptons.
So I've heard. Joni's always been fun to be with, and I like Gary, too.
Gary Gelman's love affair with Kira began at the beach. Tom and Kira and Gary with his date, Joni, are sitting on the Hampton Beach House porch. They are having drinks and chatting, but Gary's thoughts are only about Kira.
If there is such a thing as love at first sight, this was it. I first saw Kira in the elevator of our building. I immediately lost all control of my motor skills and all movement of my body ceased except my heart that was racing beyond any healthy speed limit. Since then, I relentlessly plotted and planned ways to somehow be around Kira.
Who's up for a walk on the beach?
Not me. I've already had too much sun.
You and Gary go. I'll stay here and keep Joni company.
Without any more convincing needed, Gary and Kira get up from their chairs and walk down toward the water. Gary and Kira walk along the water's edge side by side as they talk.
I was hoping it would be just the two of us. Maybe you think that too?
Yep. Do you think we're being too obvious?
Probably. But I can't help it.
I'm with Joni, but I'm always thinking of you.
Let's hold hands. No, someone might see us. We're not far enough away yet from the house.
Maybe a little bit farther.
Gary and Kira walk farther and then start holding hands. They walk yet farther and Gary stops walking, pulls Kira close to him and kisses her. She kisses him back.
We shouldn't have done that.
But we're both glad we did.
Let's get back. We've been gone too long.
Gary and Kira often meet at a coffee shop near the apartment building where they both live.
This is our spot, and this is our table.
Some people have a favorite song. This is our favorite place. Aren't you afraid people will see us here too often together?
It's close to our building, so it's likely we would run into each other here. Being neighbors in the same building has made it so easy for us.
We've been dating for more than a year now. Do you think Tom suspects?
He probably does, but he doesn't say anything about it.
Tom is seeing a psychiatrist, Dr. Edson. She is seated across from two chairs positioned side by side. Tom sits down in one of them. He is nervously fidgeting while his hands are clenched. Some time passes before either of them speaks.
What has taken you to this point?
As you know, I've been married twice. My first marriage was to Amanda. and it ended very sadly while I was in the Navy. After 10 years as a bachelor, I got married again, and I've now been married to Kira for 3 years.
So, tell me more about Kira.
Kira is much younger, 15 years in fact. She was born in Poland but grew up in an upper-middle-class family in Santa Clara, California. She's an only child, and when she was 26, her parents took her on a Mediterranean cruise aboard my ship. That's how we met.
How has this week been?
When we make plans to go away somewhere, it's never just the two of us alone. It's always with a group or another couple. And one of them is Gary Gelman and his girlfriend Joni. The girlfriend was one of the friends that Kira made when she first got here. I knew Gelman a little bit before that because he lives in my building. And once I caught them in a kiss, but Kira said it was just harmless flirting. I know better.
Why don't you confront her about it?
Because I'm hoping it will just go away. I don't want to lose her.
Have you been taking the medication?
Not really. I like bourbon. Your meds don't mix well with alcohol, and I have to report any pharmaceuticals I'm taking to the cruise line.
This was another disappointing session for Tom Ryder, who feels that nothing has been accomplished. Ed Davidson is Tom Ryder's best friend and was his best man at his wedding to Kira. They now meet at a bar which Tom Ryder often frequents. Tom is distraught. In addition to his marital problems, he has just received a termination letter from his employer, U.S. Cruises.
Hi, Tom. I wanted to talk to you. I knew where I'd find you. The bartender says you're a regular here. Too regular. Diane and I are worried about you. Kira says you've been acting down in the dumps for quite a while now.
Well, Ed, just be glad you have a good and long marriage with a partner your own age. Kira was so spectacularly beautiful. I couldn't resist her. For her part, whether it was seeing a man in a uniform or the security of an older man, the attraction was real. But like many things, it didn't last.
You think she's cheating on you?
She has a boyfriend on the side she sees while I'm away. I know it.
That sucks. What does she say about it?
Nothing. We avoid the subject. Worse yet, I got a termination letter from U.S. Cruises yesterday. I haven't told anyone, not even Kira. Now I get a 4-week notice after 10 years of reliable service with 2 promotions. Tomorrow will be my last trip.
Oh, shit, Tom. Any ideas for where you'll land after that?
None. But I've thought of a way to get back at them. It will kill their business for years.
Don't do something stupid. Like something criminal.
I don't care. I don't have much to look forward to anyway. It'll just go down as a dirty trick.
Early the next morning, Captain Tom Ryder departs on his transoceanic voyage, but not before leaving something important behind. He leaves a letter on his pillow next to Kira before she wakes. However, in her excitement for the upcoming events of the day, Kira throws back her bed cover, obscuring the letter, which she doesn't see. Then Kira starts packing her suitcase and makes a phone call.
Gary. Hi, sweetheart.
Ready?
I'll be ready in about 10 minutes. I'll meet you out front. I'll text you when I'm on the way down. I'm really excited. I've never been to Woodstock.
While Kira continues to get ready, a televised newscast plays in the background. She occasionally glances at the TV screen as she moves throughout the room.
The upcoming presidential campaign has less than 4 months left before the election. President Blake has been campaigning throughout the Midwest and is keeping a heavy schedule. Many have wondered if he could handle the rigors of a campaign at his age. He is the oldest candidate and sitting president running for re-election since Ronald Reagan. There have been many questions about his physical and mental health. We have here Mr. Hal Smith, the Republican Party chairman, for our interview today.
Kira clicks the TV off as she leaves the room, suitcase in tow. Woodstock, New York, not to be confused with Woodstock, Vermont of rock festival fame, had always been a favorite place of Gary's. His family vacationed there when he was growing up. Woodstock is known for its artist community, with the likes of Bob Dylan being one of its famous past residents. Gary identified with the artist types around the town. After checking into their bed and breakfast lodgings, Gary and Kira stroll brazenly hand in hand along on the sidewalk in Woodstock. They stop at the town center to watch a group of drummers who often gather there on an impromptu basis to jam for the tourists. They constantly exchange smiles as lovers often do. Walking farther, they stop at an ice cream shop and then take a bench outside licking their ice cream cones, suggestively between smiles and giggles.
Isn't this just perfect? I hope we're just as happy after we're married. Can we please come here every year?
It depends.
On what?
On what happens when we get back to the room. I'll race you back.
Later, Gary and Kira continue their romantic weekend as they now lie in bed contemplating their future together.
I can't sleep. How about you?
No, I can't either. No matter how much we go at it, your body's all I can think about. Let's think of something else to talk about before we hurt ourselves.
It's 12:30. We have to get tired at some point.
I think this is the way really good relationships start. There has to be that special, natural attraction that's physical as much as anything else.
Well, I didn't think you were just in love with my mind. Okay. Now tell me a deep, dark secret you never told anyone else.
I will, but you tell me yours first, and after we tell, we both agree not to discuss it further right now.
Kira wasn't ready for that. She twists nervously under the sheets with her back to Gary. After an uncomfortable silence, she finally blurts out her reply.
Okay. I had an abortion that ruined my life.
After another uncomfortable silence, Gary responds.
I have a son, but I don't know where he is.
Kira rolls over toward Gary and hugs him tightly. Gary is cold to Kira's touch as he regrets this exchange of confidences. After an extensive and tense pause, Gary nervously strains to break the silence.
We shouldn't have done that. Some things are better left private. On another subject, a journal's given me the green light to work on the election. Everyone's looking for something on Blake's health or mental state. I'm trying to find a different angle.
Geez, Gary, do you ever turn that brain off?
Just so you know, when it's on, you occupy most of that space.
Hopefully I'm in there somewhere.
That summer was in the middle of a presidential campaign. President Bill Blake was running for re-election against his Democrat opponent John Crisp.
With only 4 months to go, all eyes are on the presidential race, and especially the upcoming debate between President Blake and the Democrat challenger John Crisp. Blake has proven himself as president and therefore has the advantage of experience, but there have been questions about his health and stamina. President Blake will turn 80 next month.
President Blake has risen up through the Republican ranks with his campaign manager Jim Evans, a longtime friend and confidant since college at Princeton. Both were interested in different things, but they had conservative politics in common. Jim Evans enters the White House presidential suite and greets the president and sits down opposite him. As usual, the mood is very casual.
It's great to see you, Bill. You look good. It's always good to see you in this place. I never thought we'd make it, but here we are. I remember when we first got started in New Jersey and then moved on to PA in the governor's mansion.
It's been quite a journey, Jim. It was a disruption for Amy and the kids. She was a saint not to complain about it.
The next step was the big one, the Senate seat where you were for 24 years.
You've always been there for me. Even when I was reluctant to run for president at age 75, I was about to retire.
It's what the party wanted. And as we found out, it's what the people wanted too, especially with Harrison as vice president. He got almost half the votes against you in the primary, so the party was united.
It was not hard for Evans to persuade Harrison not to run again this time. Harrison knows that the incumbent always has the advantage, and Blake would probably not serve out the full term, in which case Harrison would be president eventually anyway. As the meeting continues, the pair discuss further the campaign events, which include an upcoming televised debate. Blake did not perform well in the last debate. As most people know, the really important political decisions are run by the true party power brokers and not the candidates themselves. One such party elite is Robert Keyes. Often decisions are made in his office rather than the Oval Office. Today is one such meeting with Hal Smith, the Republican Party chairman, and Jim Evans, the president's political advisor.
The party needs to know, Jim. How's Blake's health, really?
Same as always.
We both saw Jim. He didn't look good in the last debate.
I agree. He didn't look good at all. At times he was rambling, he was almost incoherent. Are we looking for alternatives? You both know I'd rather see Harrison in that position.
If we step down now, that would cause chaos. We don't know how that would play out for us.
Bill's polls are still good. People seem to like the old guy. Maybe they see him as a harmless and safe choice.
Any change just can't be made at the last minute. If his mental state starts to go south, I want to know right away.
Having been aboard the Emerald for the day, it's now past midnight, and Tom Ryder now stands at his dresser as he finishes dressing by putting on his captain's cap. He was hoping to receive a call from Kira in response to his letter. This only adds to his feelings of despair. He leaves his quarters, closing the door behind him. After a walk down the halls of the ship, Captain Ryder joins several other crew members, including his first mate, Bill Thompson, in the bridge room.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Tom. Oh, you okay? You look really pale.
I'm okay. It's just the first 1 a.m. night shift jet lag. I get better each day.
I wondered why you scheduled yourself in for the graveyard shift.
Just for something different, I guess. You and Bud can cash it in. The old crows have passed out long ago. I'll set the gyro. I'll be here until 8. Any weather on the radar?
No, everything looks smooth ahead.
Good. I'll be okay. Go get some extra sleep.
Okay, thanks for the extra break. I'll see you tomorrow evening. Hey, you sure you're okay?
All good. Sweet dreams.
All other crew and Thompson leave the bridge. The door closes behind them. Captain Ryder locks the door. A display panel in the bridge shows the time on a digital clock and a compass heading shown on a large round dial. Captain Ryder adjusts the controls and then paces nervously around the room. Every few minutes, the compass clock combination shows the ship course turning to the westerly direction. After a while, the ship is headed due west, and the compass stays fixed there. Shortly after, Captain Ryder picks up the radio microphone and makes a distress call.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. We've been hijacked.
Tonight, the paths of President Blake and someone whom will never be known to him by name are destined to collide at the most important point of their lives.